Hi, everyone. You get to see my face again and listen to what I have to say about childbirth, and particularly what I learned working with hundreds and hundreds of fathers and mothers who developed the Birthing Better skills with me. And I'm a body worker and a naturopath, so I'm not directly involved in birth, but I worked with a lot of pregnant families. And we did that in the United States in the early 1970s when Lamaze classes and Bradley classes were taught everywhere. Lamaze was taught in probably every single hospital. And we women, so my parents' generation, fathers were not involved in birth, but when Lamaze came in and Bradley, which was husband coached childbirth, came in, we insisted that our partner, our baby's father, was permitted to be with us during the birth. And this was transformational. And it was transformational in the sense that we built families by having men more involved in birth preparation and during the birth of their baby, rather than sitting in a waiting room, going to a bar, and handing out cigars and being introduced to the baby after the woman got home from the hospital. So here we are, almost in 2025, and I receive emails all the time from families who want to talk about their issues in pregnancy and their coming birth. And the reason they contact me is that the Birthing Better skills were developed by fathers and mothers during the 70s, 80s, and 90s to address issues like what should we be doing, what could we be doing, what could we have done, what if, and we answered those questions. When I gave birth in 1970, fathers were expected to be a birth coach. They didn't have sophisticated skills. Lamaze was not sophisticated. Bradley wasn't either. But in the 1980s, the global natural birth movement removed fathers from that role and told men you shouldn't be coaching women or telling them what to do, because there was a shift from a belief that low risk women who learned skills could achieve a natural birth, pain free labor without medical care. Now, all of us, multiple millions of us for a generation, took the Lamaze classes, whether we were high risk or whether we weren't, because back then in the 70s, only 5% of births were cesarean deliveries. And that's a complicated issue. It just has to do with the fact, really, that the medical profession was not sophisticated enough. It was acceptable if a baby died. That had been true throughout the world, throughout time, and still is today in countries that don't have medical care. But nobody wanted a mother to die. So a cesarean was used to save a mother's life. That changed in the 80s when the cesarean rate tripled because there were huge societal changes in modern countries. What were those changes? Do you remember? You probably weren't even alive. One was birth control, the pill, safe terminations, women insisting that they be in the workforce and not just at home, barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen. They wanted fathers to be more engaged in raising families. And they didn't want to be left with an ugly scar because we were all wearing bikinis back then. And so the medical profession shifted for our needs. And women also did not want to have long labors. So they were willing to have this new bikini cut cesarean so that they could have VBACs. And the VBACs, vaginal birth after cesarean, permitted us to be awake, have our partners with us when we had a surgical birth, and to try for a vaginal birth afterwards. Is this off topic for what the message was that I received? No, it's not. It's that we have a history. And our history was primarily in modern countries, fathers were not involved in birth. Traditional cultures, often men are involved with birth. So in the modern cultures, then in the 50s and 60s, in the United States particularly, we demanded that our husbands or partners be with us at the birth. And so men developed a habit around Lamaze to time contractions, see whether we were limp and ragdolly, and they helped us to breathe. Birthing Better families in the 70s were saying the skills are not sophisticated enough or broad enough or adaptable enough or adjustable enough. And fathers particularly wanted better birth coaching skills. But it turns out they not only wanted that, they wanted to know how to help us prepare for the birth of our baby. And that was the focus of Birthing Better skills. We learned how to prepare our body for birth, how to create space, mobility, and softness in our body that would help our baby open us up, come down through and out our body without having long labors. Excuse me. And fathers just wanted to do more. Men are just human beings. We arrive into pregnancy, both of us skilled, and we fall into this black hole of pregnancy and we get spit out into parenting with very few skills. So we spend 9 months of our lives being disrupted. And pregnancy is a disruptor. We all know that. And then get spit out and told, well, there you are. So we wanted to develop what was called the continuity of skilled self as Birthing Better families. We wanted to be skilled when we went into pregnancy. We wanted to have skills for pregnancy, which are the Pregnancy Academy courses of Birthing Better, to use skills during the 5 phases of pregnancy, know how to prepare for the birth of our baby, no matter what type of birth was going to unfold, and then to have good birthing and birth coaching skills to work through that activity. And why did we want that? Because we wanted to work together as a family. We wanted to strengthen our families and to not have the alienation that often we experienced when fathers weren't involved, when women didn't know what to do in birth, and we just arrived in parenting with a birth story that was very confusing for people. We just got through birth, men didn't see it, and there you were, expected to be mothers and fathers. So this is what I really want you to know that men taught me. We're human beings. That's what men tell us, right? We're all human beings. We all blink, we all cough, and we can all tighten up our rectum. And we all have emotions. We all laugh and we cry. We feel frustrated. We feel successful. And when we're skilled as human beings, we feel better about ourselves, no matter what activity we're doing. And moving into parenting is a big step. And so we want skills as mothers and fathers, as women and men. And this is why Birthing Better families develop these extensive skills. The skills basically range from the Pregnancy Academy, the 10 skills to use in each phase of pregnancy. For example, what happens when you get pregnant as a woman? In the first 12 weeks of pregnancy, everything changes. You now have another human being in your body that in those first 12 weeks, there's multiplying cells left, right, and center very, very fast. And it affects your body. That affects your relationship to the baby's father as well. And his perception of what's happening is really impacted by things that are out of his control and out of your control, which is this third person has entered your life. Every woman brings into pregnancy her own issues. When she's pregnant, some of those issues go away and others arrive, like vomiting or feeling irritable or not wanting to have sex. And so men are having to deal with this. And so one of the skills that fathers developed in the Pregnancy Academy was patience. And we think, oh yeah, we know what patience is. No, you don't. Okay. As a parent, you know what patience is. But when you're first pregnant, you don't even think about it. Yet it's an important skill. Well, a lot of men might say, and you, if you're listening to this, a woman might say, yeah, I know, he's got to be patient with me because I'm vomiting in the toilet and I don't want him to touch me. Well, the fact is, he needs to be patient with himself as well, because his response to you can affect how you feel as a pregnant woman. And he also needs to be patient with his child that is multiplying at the speed of light in your body. However, he can't feel that child. He walks out of the house and he's not pregnant while you're pregnant 24/7. And so he has to be patient with the child. How long is it going to be before he can feel the baby move? Almost 6 months. 6 months. That's a long time. How long does it take for you to feel your baby move? Not much sooner. Between 18 weeks and 22 weeks, maybe you feel a now and again or now and again. I feel a flutter, as women will say. Ah, but at 24 weeks, the baby is large enough, the amniotic fluid is reduced, your uterus is up at your navel, and you know you're more than halfway through your pregnancy. So patience is one of the 10 Pregnancy Academy skills. And then at 24 weeks, how men can be involved is prepare your body for the coming birth. Why? Because men want to be involved. They want to be included. They just don't know how. Because there's no cultural norm. In every traditional culture, there is a cultural norm. And that is relevant to each culture. Sometimes women go and live with their family if they're living with the husband's family. Some cultures, men are very involved in pregnancy because that's the way they do it. Other cultures, women go off and don't come back until the baby is born. But in modern cultures, we don't often have these big extended families. And men, as human beings, want to feel competent doing any activity just as you do. And so the tip and trend for 2025 is to all of you men listening to this, or all of you women who should direct this to your men listening to you, you want skills. And you want simple skills that do not, how do you say, challenge your philosophical or religious beliefs. And if you're in a culture where you're not going to be at birth, and you are having an engagement with the pregnant woman, because most of you are going to be living with her, then prepare her body for birth and learn the birth and birth coaching skills. If you're going to be at the birth, you'll be the coach. If you're not going to be at the birth, helping her learn in pregnancy skills that she will use during the birth of your baby is your taking on the role, the task, and job as a birth coach in pregnancy. And enjoy it. When you work together to prepare her pregnant body for the birth of your baby, you get closer to your baby. The two of you get closer together, and you learn to work together in this unique period of life. Pregnancy and childbirth are infrequent life events. They're spread apart. They are life transforming, both the pregnancy and the birth story that the woman carries with her throughout her life. And that can impact you, her relationship to you, and her relationship to your kids. There are many women who have horrible birth stories, and that impacts their relationship with everybody and themselves included. So, as a man, helping a woman prepare for the birth of your baby helps her feel better about herself, feel more confident about herself, feel better about you, feel grateful to you for not only taking an interest, but taking actions that help her prepare her body for birth and to learn skills like good breathing skills that are adaptable, adjustable, and sustainable, good relaxation skills so she knows how to soften inside her body, good communication skills with her own head, because what a lot of us know as women, we don't always like pregnancy and we don't always like childbirth. But when we don't like it, and when our mind is rabbiting on to us about how unhappy we are and how miserable we are and how uncomfortable we are, we can use another part of our brain at the exact same time to apply skills. Just like patience, it's a skill, right? And you apply it. It's a skill. Now, as parents, we know we have to be patient. And we know that there are times when our children are doing things that we honestly just want to kill them. We can't do that. So we apply patience as one of the skills to work through that period when our kids are driving us nuts. So when we have skills that can prepare our body to open up, be mobile and soft inside, and skills to work through the moment to moment activity of birthing our baby, then we feel better. We feel more confident and competent. If you know you're going to be at the birth and are going to a hospital, I can assure you one thing: there is no hospital, none ever, that will stop you from helping a woman maintain good breathing skills, know how to relax inside herself, or even help her create space in her pelvis. They love working with skilled families. That's what we learned in the 50s to the 70s is the staff in the hospitals and the doctors loved working with skilled families. They don't see that anymore because the natural birth movement told people you don't need skills. We just know how to do it. No, we don't. It will happen to us. But doing an activity implies that we are some level of skills to do it. So the message we've received since the 80s, which is you just know what kind of birth you want, so you make a birth plan and expect people to give you that birth, has been very detrimental to childbirth for the past 50 years. We need to reclaim childbirth as an activity that we're going to do. Now, thankfully, there are a bunch of skills-based methods you can choose from. BirthingBetter is just one of them. But really, we all need to become skilled to birth our baby. And it's now your responsibility to share that message with people that you know and act on it for yourself if you're pregnant. You need to become skilled to do the activity of birthing your baby, no matter what birth. If you're going to have a cesarean, you still got to get to the hospital. You're still going to breathe. You still have an emotional feeling about it. So use skills like breathing, relaxation, communication, touch. And if you've prepared your body for birth, then you can feel that you are working with your baby's efforts to come out. And you continue to use those skills while being prepped, and you continue to use those skills during the surgery. Why? Because your baby's birth is important to you. And when you use skills together, then you have a continuity of skilled self during this amazing period of pregnancy and childbirth. So let's all wrap this up now. We're almost in 2025. Women have always given birth. They'll always give birth in the past and the future. We need to become skilled. So if you're a man listening to this, find a skills-based method that suits you and learn the skills you want to learn first as a birth coach. That's your role, your task, your job. Then share them with your pregnant partner and make certain that you help her. How do you know when to help her? You can see and hear when she needs help. You'll never know what she's thinking. That's personal and hard to explain. However, if she looks relaxed, you can always say to her, "You doing okay?" And she can shake her head yes. If she shakes her head no, then you can breathe with her, even though she looks relaxed, she's having bad thoughts. You can breathe with her. You can soothe her by saying to her, "Soften in your pelvis." And once you've learned how to do that, she'll do it, you'll do it. You can learn the touch that cues her to soften inside, and she will absolutely admire you for stepping in and helping her. No woman wants to feel out of control giving birth to your baby. What does she want? She wants to cope. She wants to manage. She wants to work through. She wants to deal with. She wants to handle. She wants to stay on top of and feel in control no matter what is happening to her or around her during this activity of birthing your baby. And because it's an activity and the two of you use skills together, at the end of your birth, no matter what it was like, both of you will feel incredibly empowered. So I'm talking to you again next week. Please don't hesitate to ask questions. Like our YouTube channel, subscribe to our YouTube channel. I've done 1,000 videos on all sorts of topics over the years on YouTube. So help us gain algorithm strength by doing the things that you need to do on YouTube to make certain that we grow a self-learning, skilled birthing population for all families now.